Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
I'm of the opinion we need to do, by any legal means necessary, we need to stop Donald Trump because, as you've been saying for years now, he is a clear and present danger to the United States and to the world. He is a national security threat, and every single day there's another story along those lines, right? So I just want to get your reaction to Colorado.
The funny thing is when you were doing that little spiel there, I was starting to fall asleep because we've been at this for 8 years. 8 years. Can you believe that? I mean,
that's what talk show hosts love to hear. Thank you. I was dozing off during your monologue. Yeah.
Well, it's time that some accountability has come into place. And I think that despite the original ruling on this, where they split the difference, where they said Trump was an insurrectionist, but he's not an officer of the United States government. But now that this has been upheld, that he was an insurrectionist, that he is ineligible to be on the ballot, I just find it absolutely amazing how he and his cohorts are spinning this, that the courts are completely corrupt, that this is a good reason why he should, stay on the ballots. And really, it's just going to foster his sense of, wanting to be the dictator, right? Like Vladimir Putin, like Kim Jong-il, Kim Il-sung. And it's just going to push the Republicans, I think, to the point where I wonder if that movie, Civil War, that's coming out early next spring, is not going to incite their thoughts about why should we have to listen to the laws? Why should we pay attention to the laws? The Supreme Court will take this up. But I'm sorry. I think it was just great that they used Justice Gorsuch's own words, the most conservative, other than Clarence Thomas, who will dance on the head of a pin for anything Donald Trump says.
Bombshells get buried under bombshells. But I'm wearing the Russia shirt for you because the missing binder of Russian intelligence. I mean, I know we feel like, we've heard all this before, but I mean, talk to us about where is this folder? And I mean, what did he give it to Putin? Did he sell it to him? Is Mark Meadows going to be? Is there going to be a search warrant? What do you think happens now?
Well, see, the thing is, this is where my head explodes. If you guys who aren't watching television, I literally have my heads in my hand. Mm-hmm. This is not just intelligence. Okay, this is all the intelligence in a binder related to the Trump-Russia scandal. Yeah. The investigations, the sources, original real name sources, and methodologies that the U.S. intelligence agencies collected their information and then came to the determination that Russia was involved in the 2016 election and influencing other operations. This binder is not just, most intelligence that these guys see is not printed out. It's on a computer screen and they read it, soft copy. This was a hard copy printed binder. In other words, proof, real proof, all right, to whoever is handling that document. I just want to point out that Reality Winter.
Yeah, Winter, right.
Went to prison 5 years for one single sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And we're talking a huge binder.
Yeah, 10
that
inches
Cassidy
thick.
Hutchinson said Mark Meadows was the last person with it. It was under his arm. By the way, you destroy that binder, that's worse than keeping the binder.
Yeah.
Because at that point, we can't tell if you photocopied it, gave it to Moscow in photocopy and soft copy, and then destroyed the hard copy in order to cover up your crime.
Yeah.
I would
gave them sources, methods, names, right? I mean, this is raw intelligence. I'm going to guess, Malcolm, it confirmed.
Or kill any source that ever collected information, whether rumor or not. And somebody made a good point. It was Frank Fugelsang who said, U.S. counterintelligence, our spy hunters, now need to get billions because we really have internal threats. You have guys like Kash Patel. My money was on him being the one who actually printed off this stuff because he wanted to be CIA director. He was a low-level loser under Mike Flynn and then went to Congress and then became the White House's golden boy for taking classified information. Someone has to go to jail for this. And if it's Mark Meadows, make that mother sing about everything else.
Yeah.
Then get a guilty charge out of him for stealing that. Because I think, didn't Cassidy Hutchins say he would burn things routinely in his fire?
Yeah, and Trump confirmed he had it, not just Cassidy Hutchinson.
Yeah, he threw his ass right under the bus.
So, Malcolm, we're just lay people here, but it seems clear that if this exonerated him and proved Trump-Russia is a hoax, he would have released this. Like, clearly, this, I assume, mirrors or echoes what was in the Mueller report and in the Republican-led Senate Intelligence Report.
Well, allegedly, he supposedly did declassify most of that information, but was already in the Senate Intelligence Report. It was the really sensitive things, like the collection that was done overseas, information that was gleaned by NSA and CIA from Russian operatives themselves, or our own very spies.
Yeah.
That's what makes the rest of, I don't care if it's one single sentence on one sheet of paper with the unredacted real name of a source or an actual NSA CIA source. You go to prison.
Yeah.
We're going to find out, because you know what? Now it's in Jack Smith's interest to find out who took that binder.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's had somebody on it, but maybe he's working his way around and he's using it as the sword of Damocles over Mark Meadows.
So you think it's part of Jack Smith's
what's that?
You think it's part of Jack Smith's documents investigation?
It would have,
or a separate?
It would have to be. Because if this story's been out there, the binder is, every time you print classified, right, there's a barcode embedded in the print. And if it disappears from the pipeline, from the system, it's possible Smith was letting it run, the regular investigations run their course and looking for that classified. But now it's out that it's been 2 years and Mark Meadows is the last guy to have it.
And Senate, and that they briefed,
going to prison.
And that they briefed Senate Republicans. I mean, which action to that 2 years ago? I mean, this party, huh?
And they kept their mouths shut because they knew it would be immediately damaging to Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's extraordinary. This is the thing the founders didn't envision, right? This entire party is just made up of cowards and traitors. I mean, you think back to the Republican platform. The only thing they changed was about Ukraine. What's happening now? They're not sending any aid to Ukraine. I mean, it's just, Putin's talking points, one after another.
It would be almost the equivalent of the founding fathers finding out that 7 of the 13 colonies or 6 of the 13 colonies thought that, Benedict Arnold was just being an entrepreneur by selling the country, and thinking maybe we can have better relations with Britain after we betray the entire revolution. Hey, more than one person did that during the American Revolution, including Charles Lee, General Charles Lee, another one of the great traitors that wasn't found out for, a few decades after the war. The Republicans are making a platform out of treason.
Yeah. Was there a Benedict Arnold University? Did he have a fake university?
What's their mascot?
I know he has a view of a fish tank in a basement at Battersea Church in London, because I go there and I spit on it every time I go.
Okay. All right. Maggie Haberman, Malcolm says if the Supreme Court upholds the Colorado ruling, he will probably be tossed off the ballot almost everywhere. So this is an earthquake. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but, it's interesting. George Conway, who's, former Republican, he said he was asked who will determine whether Trump committed insurrection against the Constitution. He noted the constitutional provision doesn't say it only applies to those who've been convicted of insurrection. Right. Therefore, the courts are free to determine on their own, based on the valid judicial processes, what is insurrection and whether the facts meet that. And it sounds like that's what this court has determined. I mean, you wrote a whole book about it, about the insurrection. But he said what happened here was a 5-day trial. Trump and his lawyers got to participate. The judge made extensive findings. A judge that actually ruled for him on a bogus ground found that he engaged in insurrection. Found this not just by a preponderance of the evidence, which is your lower basic civil court standard, but by clear and convincing evidence, which means it's way more likely than not. It's very strong evidence. And you don't see dissent challenging those findings. In fact, there's no basis to challenge it. There's no dispute. We saw it on television. We know what happened. He fomented. He engaged in insurrection. He wanted this to happen. Not only that, there's another provision in Section 3 that talks about giving aid and comfort to the enemies of the Constitution. He did that. He was an enemy of the Constitution. it seems pretty clear to me.
Yeah, of course it seems pretty clear to us. The real question that's at hand here is, are the really, really big money people going to have some private fireside chats with Clarence Thomas?
Yeah.
Hey all, Glenn Kirschner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirschner wherever you generally get your podcasts.